I don't know. I think all you can really do is just be yourself and, give it your best shot. It's not like, I don't know. I don't think there's any like secret sauce to winning a quarterback battle. I think at the end of the day, you just gotta, listen to the coaches and show them why they should trust you, and you should be their guy.
Welcome to Zen Game, where we go inside the world of college sports. I'm in Denton, Texas with Drew Mestemaker and Miles Coleman, and you guys have been longtime friends and teammates leading up to today. When did you guys meet for the first time? You guys going to a high school together. It could have been a long, long time ago.
Yeah, we always kind of knew each other growing up. I mean, we went to, elementary schools 10 minutes away from each other. We, have mutual friends, and we've always been friends. And I remember playing Miles and Pop Warner whenever I was in 4th, 5th grade, so it's been a while.
When's the first time you guys played together?
First time we played together, when do you think that was?
I mean, probably we were on the same Pop Warner team in 6th grade, and we played together then. And then after that, it wasn't until high school that we played together.
And you guys, we were catching passes from Drew in that freshman season when you were starting?
Well, I was actually on B team, and he was on A team, so I was watching him catch passes, but I mean, he was always making plays, so I knew eventually there'd be a connection there.
And back to 6th grade, were you guys have a good connection back then? Was it working in the Pop Warner?
We've always had a special connection, and we knew we could always do something special at a high level, and it's always been a dream of ours.
Well, you got to show it, and we're going to get there because it was one of the coolest. I think you played in one of the coolest college football games I watched last year, in that bowl game, and to see all of that come to fruition was really, really special. So we go back to the big story I think that everyone talks about is he hadn't started a game since 9th grade. You go start a bowl game, you have a great game. But how early, you're a quarterback though most of your life before you make this position change and you're hanging out. When's the first time that a football, for both of you guys, when's the first time that a football is in your hands?
Early on for me. Yeah. I've always been in the sports, and football has always been my number one, and I would say the earliest was I started playing tackle football at 5. So I started early. I started getting into things, and I just loved it from there.
How about you?
I mean, football's always been my first love. I probably started playing flag football whenever I was 5 years old, and just running around the house with the football. I got this stuffed animal football, I guess, that I'd literally bring everywhere, every road trip we went on, every vacation we went on. So, I mean, football's always been a part of my life.
Were there quarterbacks locally in Austin that you were looking up to? Because it's an area where a lot of the most successful quarterbacks in the country have come out of high schools in Austin. I
mean, yeah, I probably lived 15 minutes from the high school that Baker Mayfield went to, and he's always been a cool story I've kind of admired. And then, I mean, just the quarterbacks above me at Vandegrift, that was my school. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a quarterback at Vandegrift, and so all the quarterbacks that went there, Dakota Prukop, really, really big inspiration of mine, and obviously all the other quarterbacks that have came before me, but Dakota is probably one of the biggest inspirations I've had at quarterback.
Very different type of quarterback. You're a lot smaller. He's really fast.
Yeah.
He's one of the faster quarterbacks I've gotten to watch. And was there any advice he's been able to give you throughout when you've been able to communicate with him, kind of coming from your high school? Is there any advice he's given you that's really stuck with you?
Yeah, I mean, he's just always preached like hard work, and I mean, it's going to pay off eventually. And he's always been in my corner and supporting me no matter what. And even whenever obviously like I didn't get a chance to start at Vandegrift, he was always in my corner saying, it's going to work out. Like, you just got to keep being you, and it'll all work out.
And so you get to 9th grade at Vandegrift, and you have so many people in front of you. I was going down, looking down the list. It wasn't just Deuce. It was a
Yeah.
it was a hell of a group of quarterbacks. What can you say about these guys that were in front of you during this whole run, and what did you get to learn from them? Because probably even you know a lot more than I do. Obviously, you were living through it.
Yeah, I mean, my freshman year, obviously I wanted to be on A team, but I was on B team, and I always say we had the best freshman B team of all time. 0 points allowed.
No way.
Yep.
How many
no
games
points,
is that over?
10 games.
10 games, no
10
points.
games,
Dominant.
0 points allowed. Yeah.
They were balling.
Sophomore year, I was pretty, not yet. I wasn't really close with the starter then, but my junior year, the starter Braden Buchanan, he's one of my best friends now, and I learned a lot from him. Just, seeing his competitive edge. He's at Baylor now playing baseball, and he's a great athlete all around, and so just seeing him, be a competitor and seeing that was awesome to see. And then Deuce, he's a great quarterback, and obviously I felt like I should have played, but I didn't want to, tear anything apart with the team. So just wanted to get on the field and, enjoy my last season with my guys. So that ended up being at safety and corner and on defense. So, that's what I did.
You ever played defense before?
Freshman year I played defense, but
So you'd go in at quarterback on the B team and then would go on the defense also?
Yeah, I started quarterback, safety, and I was punt returner on the B team. So
I've never heard of someone do that before. Yeah. So you'd go back, you return the punt, and then you just run back in at quarterback.
Yep, exactly.
I guess you guys weren't taking that much punishment if you felt comfortable taking those hits. Miles, the person who's returned a lot of punts. Do you have any memory of watching your buddy back there?
I do have a little bit of memory. But Drew, he's always been a playmaker with the ball in his hands. I remember even Pop Warner, he played receiver back at Pop Warner, and I'd have to guard him, and he would make me look stupid out there. And just, see him out there returning punts, just doing anything to make the team or just to help the team out. It's really inspiring, and I just look up to him.
Kind of in your case, Miles, were you just one of these guys that was dominant the entire way? You said you're an A team freshman year. The quickness and some of your attributes kind of jump off. I think at the high school level, I find it hard to imagine. The difference between quarterback and wide receiver is that quarterback, one guy can be on the field at all times. In your case, you can there's a playmaker. You can find a way to get him on the field. Mm-hmm. And I have to imagine it was pretty hard to get you off the field in high school.
Yeah. I just trusted my coaching. And, I'm a playmaker. I want to go make that big play. I'm always going to be willing to go make that play. And, yeah.
Who are guys that you looked up to kind of growing up?
A big one when I was younger was Tavon Austin. Just what he could do in space with the ball in his hands is really special. And then recently, Tank Dell has been a big one, his route running. And just the things he does at his size, it's just really incredible.
He surprised a lot of people. A lot of people, when he came into the NFL, he balled out at Houston. A lot of people thought that he wasn't going to be able to be like a WR1 type dude. And, out when he's not been injured.
Yeah, he's really showed them.
He's demonstrated that he was one of the best receivers in that class right out of the gates.
For sure.
Any doubt. And C.J. Stroud, what's interesting about Tank is that C.J. Stroud prioritized getting Tank on the team. He basically told the Texans, he texted, I think there's a whole story, he texted Tank, he's like, we're going to come get you. He played with them at an all-star game or something, and I forget where he met him, but he wanted to have Tank Dell on that roster. Mm-hmm. And he showed why pretty quickly.
For sure.
Hell of a player. Was Tavon Austin local?
I don't think so.
I feel like for some reason I felt like he might have been. But man, when he was at West Virginia, that dude was unstoppable.
Yeah.
I would watch his highlight tape before every Pop Warner game.
I think that's a good visual though, because I really do believe in the power of visualization, and to kind of see him do that, I can see a lot of elements that you take with you from that moment, from kind of watching him, because he just every time he got the ball in his hands.
Yeah,
you
would just think it would be a touchdown. He's just so twitchy with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, what was your favorite moment of high school leading up to?
I would say my junior year, we were playing in the state semi-championship game to go to the state championship, and we were playing Katy. They were 9-time state champions. We were underdogs in this game, huge underdogs, and we came into the Alamo Dome. We won off a game-winning field goal. It was just awesome. Greatest moment of my life.
Did you play in that game?
No, I didn't, but I remember being there and watching that, and I mean that was the craziest thing ever. And you know, our school is a pretty new school, and we'd never gone to a state championship, and you know, walking it off like that to go to a state championship for the first ever time was pretty crazy, and to do it with those guys on that team was pretty awesome.
And how'd the state championship go?
We ended up not winning. We played a good team, but I mean the experience was everything.
Yeah, and playing in the Cowboys Stadium was awesome.
Just kind of give you that vision that that's a place that you belong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, and you know, kind of giving you a taste of that, and you know, not getting it right away, but saying like I belong here, and being able to show up on a big stage.
It's a place a lot of big football games are played, not just Texas state championships, but you got the Big 12 championship there, and you got the Cotton Bowl there. It's a part of the CFP, so it's kind of a cool early preview.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, to be able to go see, hey, like this is the type of place that I can play football. What do you think that if you look back, what's your favorite non-football memory together during the high school run?
Ooh. I mean, I'd say just hanging out on the weekends, whether it's going out on the lake or, you know, hanging out on spring break or anything like that. I mean, it's always fun being around Miles, and you know, I'm glad we got to come to the same school, and you know, it's always been a friendship we've had, and then keeping that friendship going here, and you know, we were roommates the first semester, so that was fun, and you know, just hanging out, you know, doing whatever.
What are your memories from the first semester here, rooming together?
Too many. I would just say, just like whenever we had free time on the weekends, just hanging out with it was just us four. It was us two and then two other people we would hang out with in the dorms, just hanging out, talking with each other. And then like after practice or anything, we could just go in each other's room, watch film, see what we need to work on, things like that.
I think that's one of the things that kind of helped you guys acclimate to here was the fact that you had that familiarity coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, coming in as a walk-on, I didn't know, you know, I was just trying to make the travel squad coming in, like over the summer. I was like, I just want to be part of the team, do whatever. And, you know, getting out there on the field, I'm nervous. You know, it's first time, you know, I haven't played quarterback in 3 years. And, you know, coming out here and I'm like, Miles is my guy. And I've always, you know, had a connection with Miles. And so just looking for Miles whenever I'm out there on the field, it kind of gives you a little safety blanket out there. And, you know, whenever I'm stressed out or anything, just get the ball to Miles.
How much work were you guys doing outside of practice together also? Because, I mean, you obviously have the connection, probably gave you an easy person to go throw balls with when you weren't practicing.
Yeah, I mean, even back at home, second semester before we came up here, it was multiple times a week we'd be out there on the field throwing, and, you know, we'd go home over the weekend, over the summer, and throw there too whenever we'd go home on the weekend. And, I mean, that just kind of shows, like, I mean, showed in the bowl game, our first ever touchdown was to each other. It's just, that's a trust we have with each other and just a connection. We always know we're going to be on the same page.
And you guys both balled out in that game.
Yeah.
You know, it was and no one saw that coming. You know, I think that it was a crazy story that you started in the first place.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a crazy story had you not gone and had one of the best performances of any quarterback in bowl season. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Kind of just to put the bow in high school first. Miles, from your point of view, what was kind of Drew's story like that that senior year? 'Cause it's just a wild thing to be out there. What was the Drew Mestemaker experience at safety for you had a front row seat?
I did have a front row seat because we had some battles of the one-on-ones. But I mean, it was awesome. Obviously he wanted to play quarterback, but he made a decision and just wanted to do what's best for the team. And like those one-on-ones we had, he would beat me on some of those reps. Like he's an athlete, but I mean he's a baller. He would go out there and make plays. Our first round playoff game, it was fourth quarter. We were down by I think it was 3 at the time or 7, and he forced a fumble, picked it up. It was just an awesome moment, and just to see him going out there making plays, it was just amazing.
You hit hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big hitter. He'd come down.
So you got versatility. One cool thing from the safety experience, was there any moments you thought about playing special teams here? Because you would be able to, Taysom Hill made an NFL roster playing special teams and now gets to be versatile. That's going to be something in your future that you can probably bring to the table that a lot of quarterbacks can't because you've got the experience playing
Yeah,
defense.
exactly. I mean, I've always considered myself an athlete. I'm not just a quarterback, and I feel like I'm an athlete like all around. And if last year they would have asked me to run down on special teams, I would have done that. And this year the special teams coordinator asked if I could hold kicks for PATs or whatever, and I was like, yeah, sure. Like if you need me to do that, I'll do that. And I feel like I'm an all around athlete, and obviously the more things you're good at, the better chance you got to getting on the field. So
For any team.
yep, exactly.
Because the key is finding. I think Taysom's always been my favorite example of that because that's how he found his way onto a roster, and now it's a guy who's been one of the most successful players in NFL history in a lot of ways. I think he's one of 5 guys who's ever thrown, run in, received 10 touchdowns or more, which is pretty crazy.
Wow.
The history that guy put himself. I think that there's going to be a real argument for him to be in the Hall of Fame when his career is over. And that's a guy who found his way onto a roster just playing special teams. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool thing. And then, Miles, you probably committed to UNT first, right? Mm-hmm. Was going to UNT, was Miles a big factor in your decision to go to UNT?
Yes, it was. But also, I mean, I didn't really have many choices coming out of high school. For a while, I was debating going to a junior college out in California. And then, I called the coach and told him, I want to come play football for y'all. And I was fully ready to go play JUCO football out in California. And then Sam Houston, actually, my tight end coach in high school, was roommates with one of the Sam Houston coaches. And he was like, come down, give this guy a look, talk to him, whatever. And so they did, and they offered me a walk-on spot. And then UNT came in really late and told me, we might have a spot for you. And obviously having Miles there, and then with Coach Morris and the success they have with offenses here, it was a no-brainer.
And you probably felt throughout this year even better about that decision, not even necessarily playing. Obviously, we're amazing in the game, but getting to watch Chandler have the breakout season that he had with Coach Morris just further validated that this is someone that can help really shape a QB's career.
Exactly. Coach Morris and Coach Brophy have, brought me in from day one, and seeing them and how they work and how they operate, and then seeing it all work out on the field with Chandler, and, obviously him going out there and making the plays that needed to be made. And it was, I've always, I remember watching Chandler play against Colorado in Big Noon Kickoff.
I think everyone does.
Yeah, and so, that was pretty cool to see him and see how he operates here and, learn from him.
He said when he was on the show here that is one of my favorite quotes ever in this podcast, is he said that he couldn't turn on Animal Planet without seeing his interception of Travis Hunter. And that really mentally shapes a person and makes them kind of, I think, a lot tougher in a very positive way. Mm-hmm. What were some of the things that you were able to learn from him? Because I have to imagine that was just such a cool person to get to be in the room with.
Just seeing the way he approached football, it was, obviously he loved football, but it wasn't just football. It was being around with the guys, building relationships here and just enjoying the time here. Because I've learned that too. I feel like whenever you're sitting here stressing about like, oh, like I'm fighting for a spot right now, or like this is on the line right now. It's like you get in your own head, and it just kind of, you don't really perform the same. But whenever you're just like in the moment and just enjoying playing football, like this is what we love, and enjoying being around your guys, you kind of go out there and not even thinking about it, you just play better.
In your case, Miles, you came in with a loaded receiver room also, so it's going to be hard to get on the field last year.
Yeah.
I think you had 3 guys combined for over 2,000 yards. Yeah, that was right. That was a pretty incredible group. Some absolutely outrageous performances between Sheffield and Ward and Blair. What did you learn from those guys? Because combination of guys that came through here and also had played at some other places.
Yeah, I mean, I learned many things. DT, we were obviously a similar build, similar play style, same position. Just the way he went through his business throughout the day, in film, how he went about his business, it's just inspiring. And then D Ward, just how he was as a leader. I really looked up to him. Everybody loved him. Everybody could go up to him, talk to him about anything. He'll be there for you. So yeah, I would just say the leadership part I took a lot from. And just learning every day from those older guys just really helped me a lot.
Yeah, you got to see. I mean, some of those games that DT had playing a very similar position to the one that you want to be going into this year had to be like, it's just got to be something so. I'm trying to think of the right word. I think that's why we have editing. It's got to be just so motivational to see what he was able to do and the success he had in your exact same role.
Yeah, it was really special. And Coach Morris has talked to me about this, and he sees me being that same, kind of getting in that same role, and just being a playmaker in that moment. And yeah.
Did DT talk to you at all before that breakout bowl game? Was there any kind of pieces of wisdom or advice he gave you before he kind of knew it was going to be time for you to take the mantle?
No, there wasn't really any words of wisdom. It was just kind of like, go out there and do your thing, stay relaxed, because, that was my first real start, and, the nerves were up, but, I just had to go out there and do my thing.
He sent you a text after the game, though?
Yeah. He was like, great game, you balled out. He's like, you look like me out there.
That's a big compliment.
Yeah.
And how did you even get to a point, Drew? Like you're not even playing quarterback your senior year, you walk on. How did you get to a point where a school of this caliber would want you even in the quarterback room? Because it's a pretty crazy thing to think about that, you're in the American Conference, walk on or not, in the quarterback room after not taking a snap of meaningful high school football really ever at that position.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, a whole second semester, my senior year, I was just kind of like training on my own and just doing whatever I could, what I thought would, get me ready for college football. And then I got an Instagram DM from this coach saying he's going and training quarterbacks at Lake Travis High School. And I'm like, sure, I'll go throw. Like, I don't know, I'm just not doing anything else, so might as well. And so I show up and I'm like, this guy seems legit. Like, he knows what he's talking about. Like, feel like I'm throwing the ball good. And so I went a couple times, and he was like, all right, we're going to take some videos. And they were taking videos of me, and I guess they were sending them to this guy, Jeff Christensen, who's actually Patrick Mahomes' quarterback trainer, and he's up here in the area. And so he, one time after the workout, one of the guys training me there at Lake Travis handed me the phone, and it was Jeff on the phone, and I was like, I recognized him from that quarterback Netflix show.
Oh, yeah.
I recognized him from that, and I was like, oh, what's going on? And I didn't know what was going on. He was like, what do you say we get you up here and we, get you throwing with me a little bit? And I was like, that sounds good to me. So came up here, threw with him, and, he's real good friends with Coach Morris, and, he told him, he was like, this guy's legit. So, I'm so grateful for Jeff to get me in the door here. And, give me an opportunity. And I've always felt like I've had the skills to play at this level, and just needed someone to take a chance on me, and they did, and I'm so grateful for it.
What do you think the biggest learning you had from working with Coach Christensen was? Because obviously he's helped get some players to pretty high heights.
I mean, just seeing, the minute details that go into every throw. Like, you could think you threw a good ball, and then, he'll still have something to coach you on, and it's just always getting better, and just learning every day from him. And he sees football at the highest level, so you got to take everything you can from him and just try to implement it into my own game.
And then you get to college here. You guys are working, doing your stuff to get both you guys prepped to be here. But we're in a world where people make a lot of excuses. Mm-hmm. And, especially in this college football world of maybe I'm not playing because I'm not getting paid the way someone else is. They want to get them on the field. I'm not playing because I got these guys in front of me. I'm not playing for a number of other reasons. You get a lot of people who say, I never got my opportunity, and they'll have a billion excuses for why they didn't get your opportunity. You've had to take the hardest possible route to get to the spot you were in. You had a kid in your last year of high school that was a 4-star recruit at Louisville, and to sit behind him. And obviously, I'll have to ask the question later, the kid must have been a total stud if he was keeping you on the bench. But, that was just the circumstances that you were given. And then in this circumstance here, you're a walk-on heading into the season. What was it that you were able to do to work your way from walk-on to a place in the depth chart where you're able to get the opportunity to play in that game by the end of the season, and even get in the game like we talked about before the interview started in Texas Tech? Because that's just, I think the most impressive thing you did wasn't even what you did in the bowl game, but was to get to the point on the depth chart to be able to play in the bowl game in the first place.
I mean, coming in, I was probably QB6, QB5. Whenever I showed up on campus, and my thing was like, I'm not gonna, earn the backup spot in one day. Like, you just got to stack days, and I tried to do everything I could, whether that was showing up to extra stuff, giving it my all in the weight room, trying to be a leader. The new guys, even though we were all figuring it out, like, we didn't know what was going on. We were just trying to get through it and trying to learn what it's like to be a college athlete. But, just trying my best to just stack days. And, I've always had the confidence that, like, I'm a good quarterback, and, like, not playing didn't, like, beat down that confidence. But, just trying to come in and be the best quarterback I could and be the best, leader I could, just trying to show the coaches that I belong, and just stack great days on top of each other.
What do you think the moment was, Miles, where, like, people started to figure out that Drew might have a future at this level?
You talking about the people here?
Yeah, exactly. Like, people here, you can kind of, you're getting to witness it. Sometimes easier from the outside, where, like, a lot of walk-ons, the expectation for the most part is, if anything, maybe special teams, but, like, it's probably not going to happen. So, like, everyone kind of being in the room, there must have been a moment where everyone's kind of sitting around, or it's starting to become clear to people, like, wow, we got a player here.
Yeah, I think, like, most of the coaches and most of the players knew, like, within the first week. Like, I had a bunch of coaches come up to me like, this dude was the backup this year. But yeah, I've known for a while now that he's, like, he can be one of the best quarterbacks ever. And his confidence and the way he goes about his business, I just feel like that's what makes him great. And yeah, everyone here, they knew he was special, because, like, every day he would, right here, right in the bucket. And then we had a scrimmage before the Texas Tech game, just, a young guy scrimmage. And, me and Drew played in this game. This is before we kind of, made a name for ourselves. And I think it was like the third or second play of the game. Well, no, it was like the fifth play. And and he checks a slot fade to me, and he throws it about, I don't know, 50 to 60 yards, right in stride, and I think right after that I heard the coaches talking. Coach Morris was like, we gotta find a way to get these two on the field somehow, and just since there, I mean, it's been awesome.
And for you in that moment, was that kind of a moment you're talking about in your case where you kind of had your mental feeling of like, hey, I could be that Tavon Austin type guy. We're starting to break through because there's a big jump. The wide receiver position, there's a big jump from the high school level to the college level, especially with your kind of attributes. Mm-hmm. I saw some of the high school tape. Like, no one's going to be able to. You'll have a few games, but for the most part, you're not going to have many defensive backs line up on the other side of you that can even remotely match your quickness or your speed. But you get out here and they're a little bit difference between being an 18-year-old kid, and in this case, a lot of 23-year-olds, 24-year-olds that had their 6-year. You got a lot of pros now on the other side of you at these levels. So was that kind of a moment in that game where you kind of had that mental confidence, like, all right, I can be that kind of game breaker here?
Yeah. I mean, that was a big thing for my freshman year, is confidence, because early on in the year, I was lacking a lot of confidence. But yeah, there's a huge jump between high school and college DBs. Just size-wise, and the speed of the game's a lot faster. But yeah, being able to go out there and just make plays at any point in time.
Was there early moments, because you said DT and you guys have a lot of similarities, was there any early moments where you'd see some of the things he was doing in practice and you were just like a little bit discouraged because you're just like, oh my God, like I got a long gap to cover between where this kid's at right now and where I'm at?
Yeah, I mean, there were some things. He had some things he'd do better than me, and I would try and learn from. But obviously, I have some things that I think I do really well on. But obviously, learning from the older guys is, that's going to help you get better. So just taking things slow and just learning every day.
He'll have his name called next year in the draft,
sure.
like without almost any doubt. And so, I think that's one of the good parts of the portal in some cases, is that he did everything on tape last year to earn himself a spot in the NFL draft, without any doubt. But now he just gets to show that to a lot more people. Mm-hmm. And you got to see it in practice too. So
yeah,
that was,
for sure.
It was when I got to watch your guys' games this year. It's going to be really, really fun to see you surpass those numbers, because
that's the goal.
Because when he got going, he was one of the most explosive guys, and it all works out perfect for everyone because I'm probably going to have to edit this part out, but I think that they're going to get a better player this year, which is exciting. So
that's the plan.
After watching a few of the when I sat down and was like reviewing the tape for the interview tonight, I was like, whoa, God, like when you just jumped off the. I know you guys practiced it a lot, but it just jumped off the tape. It was like, man, you looked uncoverable against a really. They were playing all their guys, so it was, they were taking that game seriously.
Yeah, they were.
So we'll get back there. For me to reset. So you guys you had the huge scrimmage against Texas Tech, and then is that your first moment getting into the game against Texas Tech?
It was, yeah.
So you haven't played a game since you haven't started a game at quarterback since freshman year of high school. You played a little bit though. It wasn't that you never played. You got in some games when you guys were ahead, or et cetera. But you find yourself in the game in Lubbock against a Big 12 team at Texas Tech against the Pac State. What's that like?
I mean, it was surreal. At that point in the game, obviously, like, there wasn't really much I could do. So I was just kind of going out there, like, just playing a little football. Like, there's just a packed stadium, it's just a little football. But, just going out there and enjoying the moment. And, that's my goal. Like, I want to be on the field in those stadiums and just kind of taking it in and enjoying it and just, going out there and playing some football and just, it's all you could really do then, and just taking the moment, and it's pretty awesome.
Is there a hit you took in that game where you got up and you realized?
Yeah, for sure. the first like actual, because I think the first two plays I handed the ball off or something, and it was third down, called a QB run for me, and I pull it down and I'm running, and I like broke a tackle from a D lineman, and I was like, dang, like I thought I was about to get smoked right here, and then kind of like lowered the shoulder on someone, and it like, I mean, I got popped, but like I got up and I was like maybe like that was kind of like a confidence builder, like, all right, like I'm not just a little freshman out here, like I can do this. So that was pretty awesome.
Is it the safety experience that maybe gives you a little bit more like juice in there, because you had to be a part of so much contact at safety that maybe it doesn't feel as intimidating to take some of the hits as
Yeah, it might be, honestly.
other guys?
I mean, I've always, even from when I was younger, I've always, liked sticking my nose in there, and it's part of football. You're gonna get hit, and it's a physical sport, so it might be a little safety and just a little love for the game that comes out sometimes, and it's lowering the shoulder or something every once in a while.
I've asked that question probably well over 20, 25 times to different college quarterbacks, some of the best players in the country. I think that your answer is the least like, I've never heard anyone like, usually there's some like minor PTSD you can hear from the person when you ask about that. Yeah. It sounds like your feeling was like elation. You seem thrilled to be out there.
I mean, I was. I mean, anytime I can be on the football field, if I'm getting smoked or not, I'm just happy being out there. There was a time in the Texas State game, I got smoked. I mean, I think the guy got ejected. I didn't even like realize in the game, that he got ejected. But I was just mad I threw an incomplete pass, but it's just part of the game, and obviously doesn't feel good, but it's gets the blood flowing and gets the adrenaline going, and it's just part of the game.
Is there an extra gratitude that you have because also when you're out there, because of all those years you experienced, what it's like not to play?
For sure. I mean, that Texas State game that was like a high on life. Didn't even feel real. Like I think back and I don't even remember some parts of it because I was just going, and it was, I mean, just being out there and being able to showcase all the work I've put in, and it was awesome, and it was so much fun. Even though we lost, it was still so much fun.
It wasn't really a loss.
Yeah.
It's one of those losses, I feel like, in a lot of ways that I like to talk a lot about the how being more important than the what, mm-hmm. and that's a case where I think the how was a win. In terms of what you guys were able to display against the odds you're one of the best teams in the Sun Belt, mm-hmm. playing fully loaded. So it was a heck of a first mm-hmm. real test for a lot, not just you two, a lot of the guys in the team that got their chance to really show what they're capable of. And some people like Damon Ward, they got the chance to show one last time to people as he tries to go put his tape together for the NFL. I think he showed people that he's a guy that people are going to want to consider in whatever way that they're going to have the opportunity to do so. Quickly before we jump to the bowl game, Miles, your first hit, was it as fond of a memory as Drew's?
Oh, my first hit.
Doesn't sound like it.
Man, my first hit, oh yeah, I remember it. It was not very special. It was that Texas Tech game again. It was a pass from Drew. It was a screen pass, and I thought I had a touchdown, and I started letting off the gas a little bit, and somebody caught me from behind, which has never happened before, and I was just so disappointed to get caught. I got caught right at the 3-yard line. It was just disappointing. It wasn't a hard hit or anything, but it was just, man.
That had to be really beneficial.
Yeah. It definitely boosted my confidence. It was a nice 50-yard run. It was a nice little confidence booster. But I mean, it was at that point in the game, I was already mad, and then to get tackled at the 3 or 2 yard line, it just didn't help.
But I'm guaranteed the Jets are never coming off again. That
Nope.
was like, you're
Not at
probably,
all.
for the rest of your entire career, will probably never even have one of those showboating moments, because anytime in life we experience something like that, it's just something you don't repeat.
Never gonna happen again.
Just kind of that, you know, about kind of welcome to college moments. Like what I was talking about in high school, you just wouldn't go up against anyone that could catch you.
Yep.
Whereas in you're playing in a
college.
Big 12, upper Big 12 team.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys, and they hit. The
Yeah.
Texas Tech,
They got
one
some big
thing,
dudes over there.
they got some big dudes, and Coach McGuire kind of instills in them that they don't take any of the hits lightly that they send. You can
they
tell
don't.
that they want to make every single play meaningful.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's a heck of a program over there, and that was a great. I think that was probably a great introduction to both your careers, and it's just a funny coincidence that I happened to be there that day. Wouldn't have known I'd be filming this, months later. But kind of into the bowl game moment. North Texas is a great season. You have the chance to both learn from a bunch of incredible players, and fortunately for a bunch of those players, it led to a number of opt-outs. For how many players opted out of that bowl game?
I don't know. There were a lot.
I don't know how many for sure, but I know there's quite a bit.
It was a good number, and not a super dissimilar situation to necessarily say a Marshall would opt out of the bowl game, but you guys obviously wanted to play. Do you remember how many players were still on the team?
I mean, we lost a lot. We had a lot of
Yeah.
guys leave. I mean, we probably lost, I don't know, 30% of our roster, maybe 20 to 30% of our roster, either portal or, trying to find a new school somewhere. And I mean, it was crazy. You've always heard about the transfer portal and like, it's a new thing, but just seeing like, I don't know, it's guys you've seen every day, and then one day they're just gone, and then, now with all these guys, it's like a whole new team. It's completely different, and it's crazy.
Were practices weird?
I mean, I thought practices were weird because I was the guy, I was out there, and, you kind of got to shift your mindset a little bit. It's not just you're the backup quarterback out there going for a couple reps, like you're the guy, and you gotta show everyone you're prepared and you're confident in yourself and everyone else out there to go win the game.
What did it feel like with the kind of stepping into DT's role, and you're kind of similarly back at you? He was the number one receiver in the offense, and you find yourself in that spot heading into practice. Yeah,
I mean, I had to change my perspective and my whole way of practice. I just feel like, I'm a freshman, and I wasn't playing as much, so I guess I was goofing off during practice, I guess. So I guess I just changed my whole perspective on how I went through practice, just studying the playbook, writing down plays during film, meeting with the quarterbacks, meeting with Drew. So yeah, I just feel like my whole way of life, the way I went throughout my day, just changed completely.
And what was kind of the feeling between you guys inside the locker room in general, where you were counted out by everybody to win that game? They had Texas State as a 14-point favorite, one of probably the biggest favorites of bowl season, because usually the lines in bowl games are close because of all the things you're talking about, because of the transfer portal. No one really knows what version of a team is going to be showing up. In your case, you had two total polar opposite situations. Texas State's entire team was playing, including Jordan, who was trying to audition out for the NFL draft. And then in your case, a lot of your starters were out. So what was kind of the mindset in the locker room heading into that game?
I think with the bowl prep we had, I think we had some really good bowl prep practices. And every day, confidence just kept stacking and kept building. I think going into that game, everyone really believed we had a chance to win that game. And I think if a couple things would have went differently, we could have won that game. And I think just the way we practiced going into that kind of led to our belief being like we could really win this game, and it's not just, we're not just giving it our best try, like we actually have a chance.
In a lot of ways, thinking about it now because I've watched them, that was actually your offense's best game of the season in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think that South Alabama game, that first game of the season, was probably our best regular season game as a full offensive standpoint. And then I remember watching that a lot, just like leading up to bowl prep, just saying like, what did we do so good this game that we couldn't get going the rest of the season? And then, obviously just going out there and, getting the ball to our playmakers and just letting our guys make plays, and guys like Miles and guys like D Ward, Landon Sides was feeling healthy again, and being explosive and making plays, and just letting those guys just be the athletes they are and the playmakers they are, and I think that helped us out a lot.
I think when you look at the most impressive part of the game, which is kind of where I think some of the struggle, but you have to look at perspective. The offensive line actually did a pretty sensational job when you think of the amount of how many new linemen were in there for you.
I mean, we had a true freshman left tackle, Braden Nelson. Our center and guards flipped mid-game. I mean, Gabe Blair hadn't played the whole season. Was out with an ACL tear and just gets thrown in for the bowl game. Like, was literally in the transfer portal before the bowl game. Comes back, gets thrown in the bowl game. I mean, we just had a ragtag crew out there, but everyone was confident. Landon Peterson on the right side had, one arm playing. His shoulder was so messed up, and it was just kind of everyone out there just willing their way through that game. But just going out there and giving it everything we had. I mean, they did a great job, and with having a couple weeks to prepare for that game, with guys just leaving left and right, they did a great job.
Yeah, I think when I say it was the most impressive performance, I think that context is kind of part of what I mean. Where you look at just like,
no doubt,
for those kids to come together, and yes, there were a few turnovers that I think probably don't happen if it's a more mature line group, but outside of those plays, they held up
and
really played incredible for 85 or 90% of the snaps, and that's a pretty amazing thing to do on such a short notice, where at that position it's so important for guys to get time together and bond and know how the guys next to them are going to play and how they're going to pick up blitzes, etc. To do what they did on a few weeks preparation is almost unheard of.
No doubt. Yeah, they did a great job.
And I mean, the game itself is just incredible for both of you guys. I don't really have a lot of words to describe what happened. Miles, you go well over 100 yards, get in the end zone. Drew, over 400, get a 70-yard rushing touchdown. Just stuff that's probably not even, it's hard to even believe what you guys did in the football field that day. Kind of tell the story in your words.
I mean, I just went out there and, before the game, I was nervous and everything, but, to a point, like, leading up to it, I was like, it's just going out there and playing football. Like, I wouldn't be in this position if they didn't believe in me, if I wasn't supposed to be here. Like, I'm supposed to be here, and just having that confidence in myself and the guys around me, and just going out there. And, I thought I played a good game after the game ended, but, like, I was more mad we lost. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I threw for 390 yards or whatever. Like, I was just trying to, win the game, and just happened that, put up a lot of, filled up the stat sheet. And, I remember talking with Miles. We got like 3 days off for Christmas, and we always drive back to Austin together. And, I remember talking to him in the car. I was like, I just want to open up on some run. Like, I just want to get out in the open field and just run. And, I remember talking to him about that, and I was like, if I get an open field, like, no one's catching me. And I remember specifically telling him that, and then getting that run, just turning the corner and no one in front of me, I was like, oh my gosh, here it is. And I knew as soon as I hit that open field, no one was catching me.
You were off to the races.
Yeah.
Speed was on full on full display.
For sure.
Did everyone on the North Texas sideline know that you were throwing up, or was that just something the TV caught?
I mean, I don't think so. Everyone was on the sideline hype, and I'm getting knocked all over the place. I'm already tired, and then our big D lineman Rod Brown comes up and like bear hugs me, and I was like, oh God, like I'm about to throw up. And I told him, I was like, I'm about to throw up. And he sets me down and he's like, go throw up. So I just grabbed the water and ran over to the trash can, and quarterback coach came over to me and he was like, I was looking for you, like couldn't find you. I was like, yeah, sorry, coach. I got a little excited there. But yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I'd do it again all over again.
I bet. But yeah, I was curious, is that something that the locker room, when it did go viral later, was that something the locker room didn't all know about during the game that you kind of got a hard time about later?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. And, all my friends came to that game, all my family, and I was sitting in the locker room, like upset we lost, just sitting there thinking about what just happened. And Miles comes in and gets me because we're in a different locker room, and he comes in and gets me, and he's like, "You ready? Like, you want to come out?" He was like, "Everyone wants to see you," and I was like, "Sure." So I get dressed and whatever and go out, and seeing all those people to support us, like it was the whole neighborhood, the whole community came to support us, and just seeing that was awesome, and seeing all my friends and go dap them up or whatever, and they're like, "Dude, you're all over ESPN or whatever," and it was just crazy. I mean, didn't even feel real.
Yeah, so for both of you guys, you had a lot of your friends came out to.
A ton of friends came out, supported us. Yeah, it was awesome.
And you guys both have your families there?
Yes.
I had some family there. I had some extended family there. It was nice.
Yeah, I just can't imagine that first touchdown. That's what you guys have been preparing for so long, and I'm sure just practices throwing together. And Miles, you get loose.
It was special. It was special. That first touchdown from Drew, man. It was. I mean, it's always been a dream of mine. And then just that moment, I had a celebration for my first touchdown, and I just completely forgot. I was too excited, so I was kind of jumping around. And then first person I found was I pointed at Drew, and then we hit a little shoulder bump, and it was just that whole game and whole experience. It was just awesome to see and witness.
You had moments against Texas Tech, obviously, but you're way down, so you don't feel like you're necessarily impacting the game, I'm sure. Like, even if you get a little bit of a confidence boost, there's that part in the back of your head where you're like, are these guys really even giving me their best shot at this point? You're out there. It's one of the best teams in the group of five in college football. And you make that play. Is there kind of a, we got this, we can do this thing kind of feeling?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's all we needed, really. Just some confidence to build on that confidence throughout the game, and I think that just really what built us throughout that game.
I remember being, at least from a fan's perspective, I'm watching that game. Two teams I spent some time with that season, and I knew a lot about the players that Texas State had in the field, very little about the guys you had in the field at that point, and I remember watching that play, and I'm like, these guys are going to hang.
Yeah.
Like, this is a game.
Yeah, I mean, that first drive going out there, Coach Morris had the confidence in us to, like, go out there and kind of, like, sling it around. Like, first play of the game, he kind of told me a couple days before, like, we were gonna take a shot at him and, kind of push the ball downfield first play of the game. And obviously going out there, I was so nervous, getting out there. But I was like, after that first play, it was just kind of like, we're just playing football, and you get that first completion, and it's just like you're in the game, and it just feels normal. And then, having that touchdown to Miles, it was like, I saw it pre-snap. I knew where the ball was going. I mean, we'd probably thrown that ball 50 times here, and hundreds of times back at Vandegrift, and I knew it was a touchdown as soon as I saw the coverage and whatever, and snapped the ball, threw it to him. He tracked it over the shoulder, and I was like, oh yeah, I just had to make sure he got in the end zone before I started celebrating. And rained down, found them, and I think that just kind of like set the tone for the whole day. And especially everyone on the team knows how close we are. I mean, we're with each other all the time, and so I think everyone's seeing that and seeing like just the confidence we have in each other. Kind of set the tone for that game.
Without even knowing that you guys were on the same high school team and this incredible story and your friendship, when you caught that touchdown, I remember doing what I do when you watch a football game, which is like, who is that? And you go to the roster, I see you're a freshman, and the immediate thought in my head is, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
This is going to be good for North Texas fans.
Yeah. I mean, just for us to go out there and have that success with so little experience, it just kind of like, I feel like it shows to the work we've put in together and the connection we have. It's like, I feel like no matter what, against anyone, we could go out there and have success.
You're going to get that opportunity in the spring and coming into the fall. How is your mindset heading into a position battle this year with quarterback now that I think led the FCS in passing yards?
I mean, obviously, being in a quarterback battle is something I've done my whole life. I mean, I've never not been in a quarterback battle, and so it's nothing new for me. And just kind of going out there and just showcasing what I can do. And obviously, the coaches. I've been here for a year. The coaches saw me play in the bowl game, saw me prep for the bowl game, and I felt like I've showcased myself and just kind of keep being myself. And I like Reese and love Reese, and he's already came in, and we have a great relationship already. And he's got stuff that I've learned from him already, and just watching him. And so it's always great, being with another good quarterback, and it always pushes each other. And it's always great being in a quarterback battle. I think it makes you better, and especially competing with another guy who's good at football, it just brings out the best in you.
I'm excited to ask about everything you get to learn from him because he's got such an amazing set of experiences.
Yeah, he does.
He's going to bring with him to the school. And just one last question about the battle. Obviously, one thing I think all the time is Deuce has got to be one heck of a quarterback to have kept you off the field.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's a great athlete. Can extend the play whenever, go out and run around and just somehow make a play out of it. It was pretty crazy to watch, and just he's a great quarterback, and he's going to do great things at Louisville. And yeah.
Yeah, one of my instinct that keeps popping in my head is, man, Miller Moss thought he was going to a place where he's easily going to play. If that kid was playing in front of you, he's probably going to be more of a challenge than maybe people think to keep off the field as the second year kind of coming in.
For sure.
But I was going to ask you, what did you learn from the last time you had to be in a battle for that job that you're going to take with you this time?
I mean, just kind of going out and, I don't know, I think all you can really do is just be yourself and, give it your best shot. It's not like, I don't know, I don't think there's any like secret sauce to winning a quarterback battle. I think at the end of the day, you just got to, listen to the coaches, and you can't, question the coaches. It's their team, it's their decision to make, and you just got to show them why they should trust you, and you should be their guy.
Was there anything from that senior year of high school, though, as you look back the whole season, you were playing safety, it was an amazing experience, where you felt that maybe if I had done this one thing differently?
I don't know if there's like one thing, really. I mean, obviously I feel like there were days where I could have played better. I don't know if there's really one thing that made me lose the job, and I really don't think there's one thing that, obviously this last year made me like win the backup job. I don't think there's really like one thing that can kind of set you into a job like that. I think it's just kind of stacking days and, showing every day why you're the best and the most consistent and why they should trust you.
The kind of thing I want to close on here is just the position you were in, Drew. It's the position almost every college football player finds himself in by default. You guys are both there to a certain degree, although Miles, your path to playing time was a little bit easier than Drew's was. You were, you said, sixth quarterback, and a lot of people feel like they're in a position where they're never gonna see it. And what advice would you give to somebody who's in the position right now where it seems the odds are completely stacked against them to show what they're capable of doing?
I mean, what I thought to myself the whole time was just, I have the confidence that I can go out and, make the most of my opportunity whenever I get the chance. And that's what I'd always say to myself is just, I just need a chance. And just having the confidence in myself and the confidence in my work that I've put in. And like we can all say we love the grind, but like we all do it to like show it off, like you do it to go out and play football. Like, I mean, we all want to go out there and show off our abilities on the field. And, I think just having that confidence in yourself that like I can go out and do this when I get the chance, and just not being discouraged by the extra work and the extra time that it'll take, and just having the confidence in yourself.
Well, I think it's amazing advice, and it's been such a pleasure having you guys on the show today, and I'm looking forward to continuing to document what's going to be a very special, two special careers for both of you guys, but intersected.
Sir, I'm
Thank you for
excited.
having us.
Thank you for having us.
Complete pleasure.